Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, what is going on, sir?
Let's get to it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready for this new journey that we're about to embark on here at the Graybeard Chronicles.
What is that?
This is the first. We actually have a new decade of co-host here on the Graybeard Chronicles. And welcome to your 60s, brother.
Look, I said I wasn't going to do this, and I'm not going to do this. I refuse to hold your youth and inexperience against you.
Cool, because I'm not offended by it, so it's all good.
You'll get there.
I'm here to learn.
I turned 60 a few days ago, Howie, just so you know. And he wishes he was a member of the club, but he's not. And he'll get there. He'll get there eventually.
I'll be there soon enough. I'm closer to 60 than I am to 50. So
yes, you are.
I'm on the way.
Yes, you are. And I was thinking about it this morning. Actually, I was noticing. Yeah, you got a lot of you got a lot of dark in your beard. You got a lot that's not gray. So I mean, you got some growing up to do still.
Well, each year there's less that's not gray. There's some.
I used to have red hair. And all I got now is gray.
Okay.
It's not red now. So you don't have a beard, but you certainly fall in that gray beard category.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
Have you ever had a beard?
No, for 2 weeks. It drove me nuts.
You know, that's about the time you got to press through, because that's when it starts. So
yeah.
I was like you for most of my life. Of course, I couldn't have a beard because I was in the military, but
right.
Anyway, you get past that 2-week mark, and then it starts to get more normal, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, you got to ride it out. And I mean, there's awkward phases during beard growth. So yeah, but you got to ride it out. If that's something you want to do, it's not for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to talking to Howie, because he is very different than anybody that we've had on before.
Yeah, we're going to talk about stuff that we have not had conversation with anyone about on this podcast, except for maybe each other offline, right?
Right.
Yeah. Right. All right. So who is this clean-shaven man that you're seeing on video here? If you're watching the video, this is Mr. Howie Zales, and Howie is an Emmy award-winning camera operator who turned his passion for television broadcasting into several entrepreneurial endeavors. Howie created HJZ Productions, Inc. in 2000 to address the need for professional-level sports crewing and staffing in the New York market. Under his leadership, HJZ Productions grew to a multi-million-dollar nationwide provider of top talent in the broadcasting field. In 2019, Howie and the team formed Virility Entertainment Services, Inc., VES, which initially focused on staffing in the non-union markets. And with the onset of COVID-19 in early 2020, they quickly pivoted to offering best-in-class broadcast quality live streams for professional sports shows and interviews, corporate interviews and meetings, and religious services. In addition, Howie took his love of the television production business and created the TV Sports Course, a hands-on training boot camp for the next generation of television crew professionals. Howie is a graduate of the State University of New York at Plattsburgh's Mass Communication Program. And no doubt we are going to learn some stuff from you tonight, Howie, that is going to be very, very valuable, and definitely interested to talk with you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. Honored to be here.
I have questions that could keep us going all night, but I'm going to start with one. And this was the first sort of moment I had when I started to do my research on you. I didn't know you could win an Emmy as a camera operator. So Please tell us more about that. That is interesting all by itself. I mean, it makes sense now that I know it, but I didn't know it 10 minutes ago. I mean, metaphorically, right?
Yeah, we won an Emmy for our coverage of the 2008 Summer Beijing Olympic Games for gymnastics.
Wow.
Very cool.
And what was it about what you guys were doing that was different than, what's been done in the past, and that led you to be nominated and win?
Yeah, it was for that year, just what it took to produce that show, the camera shots, everything that went into producing that event.
Got it. And I imagine you've had lots of brushes with greatness, I'll just say it, as you're filming, because I know multiple Super Bowls and all kind of really high-end sporting events, and Brian and I are both big sports fans, and that would be interesting to know. And what are some of your more significant, if it's not boring to us. So,
yeah, no, I've had the great fortune to do between 8 and 10 Super Bowls, many summer and Olympic games, X Games, 22 Kentucky Derbies, and the other Triple Crown races as well, the Belmont Stakes and the Preakness. I spent 20 years as a camera operator with the World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. So I did about 20 WrestleManias, which is some of the biggest entertainment shows on the planet.
Wow.
And other concerts and just about every sporting event you can possibly imagine that's on TV. I've shot at some point in my career.
What are your top three? And maybe that's too many to call out, but top three that just stand out as awesome experiences.
So when the Kentucky Derby is probably just, that's one of the biggest sporting events of the year. So just being a part of it, when Bob Baffert, I forget the name of the horse, when he won the Triple Crown maybe 2 years ago, being right there and with him when he won the Triple Crown at Belmont Park, that's a highlight. When the U.S. women gymnastics team won their gold medals in Beijing and in London, I was on the floor with them when they won their gold medals. And the other highlight, no one really knew who Michael Phelps was back in Greece, which was his first Olympics, but I was a camera operator that was on one knee getting him coming out of the pool when he won his first gold medal and subsequent medals in Greece. So that was pretty cool to say that I was there for.
I'm actually getting chills.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
If we're fortunate enough to have watched some of that live, right? But man, just to be right there.
But didn't know it was his camera.
I was
He
gonna say,
the one doing
be the guy that was sending that to us. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So you must have had. You're not a New York Giants fan, are you?
No, I don't really follow like a team in football. I've been to like hundreds and hundreds of games, but I've never been to a game as a fan because I'm always on site. So I've never really followed a team per se.
So what was the first Super Bowl you went to that you covered?
I think it was the first one I did might have been, was it Giants Arizona? The Giants were in Arizona. They played in Arizona. I forget what Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When they made Tyreek made the catch over his head.
Yeah. The helmet catch.
The helmet catch.
The helmet catch.
Yeah.
I don't remember when that was.
Oh, against the Patriots. It was against the Patriots because that's the year the Patriots went 16-0, and
that's
then
right.
They beat the Giants in the last game of the regular season, which I was there for, and then the Giants beat them in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, the Giants lucked into that one.
I think that was the first Super Bowl I did.
That was the one where the what was the 72 Dolphins were doing the happy dance and when they lost, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because they went on the way, but although they played only like 12 games, I think, when Miami, or maybe 14.
Right.
They didn't have a 16-game season at the time. Anyway, so lots of brushes with greatness with Tom Brady, right? Bryant's a good Tom fan. So
we go again.
I always got to fit this in. I just love his enduring nature, as you know.
You can't knock the guy. You don't have to like him, but you can't argue with his success. That's for damn sure.
That's true.
Wow. See, so that's pretty cool. You've been right there for things that in American culture are huge. Horse racing, football, gymnastics, the Olympics. I mean, that's all big stuff. And you didn't have to be invited to the party. You were at the party, filming the
Yeah,
party.
you were sharing the party with everybody else. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's been, you know, I've had a great career. I'm so fortunate and so grateful.
All right, so here's a question that you know, there are, I don't know, I won't put a number on it, but there are many camera operators out there in the world, and somehow you rose to the top, and you all of a sudden became the person or part of the team that's now going and doing these really high profile events. How do you get there? Because this is not, you know, that didn't happen by accident.
Yeah, there's, you know, there's different, you can work and have an awesome career, make a ton of money, and never have to get on a plane and travel. There's plenty of local sports in the, you know, I'm in New York, so in the New York area, doing Yankees, Mets, Devils, Rangers, Islanders, you know, and there's some of the best camera people in the country that work in New York that just do regional sports. But I had the good fortune back in, let's say, 2000, 1999. I got called to do a horse race, and a lot of the networks will use these outside companies and they're called packagers, to put these events together. And it was a way to get around the unions, and that way the networks didn't have to deal with putting the whole crew together. They would just send their producer and director. So I was hired to do this horse race at Belmont Park, and it aired on NBC Sports. So NBC sent their top director, John Gonzalez, and he had done NBA Finals, World Series, Super Bowls. And, you know, I busted my butt, and I did a really great job. And I went up to him at the end of the show, and I said, "Here's my card. It was great working with you. I hope to see you soon." And he said, "You know, you did such a great job." He said, "We're starting this new football league in the spring called the XFL." He said, "If you're interested and you want to do football, why don't you come do a little, you know, tryout with us? Come to Notre Dame. We'll do a game or two, and if you're good, then you could join the XFL crew in with us next year." So I was like all excited. Notre Dame, you know, that's like you can't get higher than that in college football, right?
Right.
So I ended up shooting Notre Dame football for 20 years, and then I ended up doing the XFL, and that was how I got on my network journey. And wherever John went with NBC Sports, I was fortunate enough to go. I did every event that he did from that time on. And then when he kind of moved on from NBC, there was other directors there that I kind of, you know, just stayed on with. So it was that was my path through the network.
And would you say that that's a great story, and there's a whole bunch of takeaways that I could get from that, but you were seizing opportunities, you were aggressive, you were hungry, you were wanting to you know, to make a valuable contribution based on your skill set. Am I summarizing all that right?
Yeah. So, you know, just some nuggets from there. You know, you always have to show up and give 110%, because if I didn't show up and give 100% on that first day that I met John, then he wouldn't have invited me to Notre Dame and possibly the XFL. And then when I showed up at Notre Dame, you know, I did my research beforehand on who the players were. I showed up prepared. I didn't go out, you know, I don't really drink much, but I didn't go out drinking the night before and stay up late. This was my job. I was focused. I knew what I needed to do to get to the next level and make it happen. And that's what I did. And I seized every opportunity, and then I followed up in a professional manner after the fact.
Yeah, that was good stuff there. All kind of good stuff for everybody.
Yeah, we'd have to slow that down and pull. Yeah, that was. There's definitely some good things there. You know, one of the things that you mentioned before we actually started recording was, you know, how I think you said it was your wife that really drove you to go into this entrepreneurial arena that you find yourself in now. Say more about that, and how your side hustle was basically doing better than your, you know, day job, and how you made that transition.
Yeah, so I think it was like 2000, 2001. A friend who I went from elementary school through college with was working at MSNBC at the time. And if you remember Imus in the Morning, the radio show, they would do their show out of MSNBC studios, and it would air on the network. And he called me and said, "Hey, Howie, we're going to take the Imus show on the road. Are you available to do camera on the show?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "Hey, do you have any camera people friends? I need some camera people. I need some audio people." And he went down the list. I said, "Sure, I know I could, give you someone for all these positions." And he said, "Do you think you could, just do one invoice for everybody and then pay them for us? It'd make my life a lot easier." And I said, "Sure, why not?" And I'm like, "There's got to be a business idea here, right?" So boom, that was the start of HJZ Productions. We've been in business for over 20 years, and we started just staffing smaller TV shows, sporting events in the New York area, and we kind of grew nationwide. And when the unions kind of came in, we got union contracts around the country, and slowly but surely I was making way more money doing the staffing than I was as a camera person, and I was traveling 4 days a week, and I had to hire people to cover me on the business because I was on an airplane half the time. And my wife said to me, she said, "You're really, stop calling yourself a camera person that has a business on the side. You're an entrepreneur that also does camera work.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to focus more on the business and less on the camera work." And
There you go.
she was right.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What's the old saying? Something about the most successful men have a super successful and very influential female by their side, working in the background, pushing you forward, propping you up.
Yeah, and I always say that, and my wife is way smarter than I am, and I always like to surround myself with smarter people. If I'm the smartest one in the room, then we have a problem.
There's another great name though, Don Imus. I used to love listening to him, and it just his irreverence. And I suppose you got to know him a bit, right? God rest his soul.
Tiny bit. It was
Okay.
I only worked with him that one time, but
okay.
it launched. It helped launch my business.
You bet. You bet. That's very cool.
All right, so let's talk about the transition that you guys had to make when COVID-19 showed up on scene, and the normal things that you've been doing started getting dialed back. Love how you pivoted and realized the need for something else. I want to hear more about that, especially the live stream stuff, because we haven't done live stream things yet, other than what we're doing here on the Zoom platform. But I'm interested to know if there's better ways to do this.
Yeah. So we started, like I said, like you read, in 2019, we started a second business, and it was really to kind of keep the union and the non-union work separate. And then the pandemic happened and shut everything, including sports and TV, down. So my first instinct was, oh my God, what are we going to do? And then I was like, then I started doing some research, and in the late summer, in the early summer, late spring, I started reading about live streaming and the capabilities, and it was like 5 years down the road, but because of the pandemic, it got brought up so much quicker, and the technology changed overnight. So I had all this time, and I started researching and reading about it. And during that time, HJZ Productions, my company, got hired by the West Point Military Academy to produce the graduation in 2020 for the cadets, because the parents couldn't come. And this was a graduation that they had never done like this before in a part of West Point. So we hired everyone from the director down to the runners on the show, everybody. And when I hired the director, he said, Howie, I have to have my technical director. The technical director is the one that sits in the TV truck when the director says, take camera one, he or she pushes that button, and so on and so forth. And every director has their own TD that they take on every event. And this guy had an 818 area code. So to me, that meant he lived in California. And I said to Patrick, listen, I got so many guys that are from New York that are sitting at home. My guys want to work. And he's like, I got to have my guy, Jamie. And something in my gut said, you know what? Trust your gut. Go with what Patrick is saying. Don't put up a fight. There's a reason why. I didn't know the reason why yet, but I went with it. And I met Jamie on the first day of this production. And lo and behold, Jamie is huge into live streaming. He got in right like a month before, and he's a brilliant guy and taught me everything I needed to know about live streaming from that day on. And that was how Veridity Entertainment Services was born, was because I kind of trusted what my gut was telling me was to go with what this guy Patrick wanted. And I met this guy Jamie, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, I love that. Love the trust your gut, because in my experience as well, when you go against it, bad stuff happens, or you miss out on good stuff that was coming your way.
Yeah. So how the company was really born, I'm Jewish, and the temple we belong to, the rabbi happens to be a very good friend of mine. And I told him, listen, you're not going to be able to do services the way you normally used to doing. You have to live stream everyone. And because I had met Jamie and had done all this research, I knew what equipment had to be purchased. I knew what the setup needed to be. So we got all this equipment together for the temple, installed it, set it up, did the services. And in the middle of all this, I'm like, there's got to be a business behind this. And literally the days before the first service, I got a call from a client. He said, hey, Howie, I need to do 9 interviews of 9 Major League Baseball players in 9 separate cities, but the interviewer cannot leave her house. Can you do that? And I said, yeah, of course. I hung up the phone. I told my wife, and I said, Jenny, I have no freaking idea how we're going to do this. But I just agreed to it and said, no problem.
Yeah.
And then I went back, and Jamie and I worked out a scenario, and that was literally how the company was born.
There's a second time that the universe has handed you this, given you this indication that you need to move in this direction, and you took it.
That's cool.
I know you did a whole podcast on, or maybe more, on trust your gut. And
yes.
That's an interesting topic that I'd like you to expound a little bit more on. Can you tell us about that a little more, about trusting your gut and what that means to you, and how our audience could maybe benefit from it?
Yeah, every time like a situation in business arises, and I just go with what my instinct tells me, and whether it's something that's a good or bad thing. I had to fire an employee. I knew it was toxic. I felt bad doing it, but I knew he was dragging my name down, and dragging the company name down. So I trusted my gut instinct. I got rid of him, and we kind of like launched to the next level, right? I knew I needed help in running the business side of the business. I was doing everything myself. I was making mistakes. I trusted my gut because I knew this person. We hired her, and again, we launched to the next level. And it's every time I've had to make a big decision, I just trust what my gut tells me. I don't think and sit, back and forth, weigh it for a long time. I make the decision.
And have you experienced a time where you did that, and then the world started giving you feedback that wasn't necessarily consistent with what you thought, or it's kind of worked out, or how would you characterize that?
In 90% of the time, it works out.
Yeah.
I trusted my gut. We invested some money in this platform for our business, content delivery network. We thought everything was gonna, work itself out, and we'd make we'd double our money. It didn't work out as planned. We didn't really lose a lot of money, but we didn't break even. So that was like the worst thing. But at some point, you got to take a risk.
You bet. Yep. Yeah, I know. And just in my own experience, there are times where that I have a gut instinct about the way something should go, and I don't follow it. I get involved in conversations, and folks will say, I don't like that idea. I like this idea, and I'll gather all this input and then make a different decision, and almost without fail. I mean, also a lot of times go with my gut, but on those times I haven't, I go, boy, if I'd just gone with my gut on this, everything would have been fine. And,
right.
and it wasn't. So that one resonates with me. That's why I wanted to ask about it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm glad that you had those experiences. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a question about how you transition from being the guy behind the camera to the guy that's basically out there selling now, and having to make sales to keep your company alive and thriving. How'd you make that transition?
Yeah, it was. I hired a business coach to help me with that because I needed to start to think outside the box, and what can I do? How can I sell my services? How do I go about doing it without being salesy, right? So I hired a business coach, and then I hired a LinkedIn coach to change my profile. And I try to always, like I said earlier, I try never to be the smartest person in the room and surround myself with people that are better at doing things than I am. I try to, in our business, I stay in my lane in what I'm good at, and I try not to get involved with, the business side or the money side of things. My wife runs the business side of Aridity. Lori runs the business side of HJZ. And if I ever try to dabble in it, I get spanked, and I always end up making a mistake. And I try never to touch an Excel spreadsheet when it matters. I never send an important email without my wife looking at it first. So I just try to stay in my lane and what I'm good at, and that seems to work.
Where did you come up with that? Because there's a lot of people who don't do that. They just gut it out and do it all themselves. And you're right, they make all kind of mistakes. So those are some really great lessons in life for people to carry. But how did you arrive at that point?
So my business coach, Bedros Keuilian, he's the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp and the author of Man Up. I went to a few of his masterminds with another friend, and then I kind of learned all I thought I could learn from just the mastermind part. And I said, and I knew he had private clients as a coach, and so I asked him, and I became a coaching client for a year, and I learned so much. And that came from him. Do the 5% that you're good at.
Yeah, that's more good advice. See, I'm getting all kind of good stuff out of it. I don't know about you, but
that's definitely solid advice. And I think I was watching another podcast that you've done, and you made the statement that we're all salespeople in our lives, right? We're selling every day. And I think sometimes people have a negative mental connotation that they attach with salespeople or a salesman. They think of the used car salesman and the, I don't know, bell bottom, funky pants, and smooth, telling you whatever you want to hear kind of story. And it's not like that, right? And you're right. I mean, that's a great point, because we're selling every day. You're selling your ideas. In a relationship that you have with your wife or significant other, it's not, I mean, you don't necessarily call it that. And at the same time, influencing people and decisions they make is sales.
Exactly. Yeah. I got that from Grant Cardone's book. You sell or be sold, I think it was. Everything's a sale. It, may not be the salesy thing, but everything is a sale, and you have to look at it that way.
Are you a Tony Robbins fan?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The reason I asked this, live streaming. See, it's all coming back together.
Yeah.
When the pandemic first hit, as you know, his program is so the importance of being there with him in the room, getting the energy and doing all that stuff is such a big part. And all of a sudden, all that was shut down, and he did this amazing live stream. I don't know how long it was. Maybe it was the full. I think it has like 4-day program or something. But are you aware of that? And are you aware with what he was able to do?
I have not seen it. No.
I've seen the images, right? So like him standing on this platform, this stage or whatever, and just for as far as you can see, screens of people that are the attendees.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like a whole. It's like a semicircle of surround, maybe. Yeah,
screens everywhere.
It was incredible, an incredible image for sure.
And then all of their sound was coming through as well, and of course his was overpowering because he was the speaker. But you could hear the clapping, and you could hear the hooting and hollering, and you could hear it was remarkable. And because he was trying to create that same energy, but not be, and it was And it was phenomenal. And I thought, wow, this is advancing the technical capabilities in the science dramatically. And I'm sure they figured out new and interesting ways. And
Yeah, with our live streams, we now we're doing a lot of corporate meetings and events, hybrid meetings where maybe there's 5 people on site, and we're streaming a meeting globally. We're taking in guests that are guest speakers at the conference who are from around the world, just all over the internet, and incorporate them into the meeting as if they were there with the other 5 or 6 people. We use slides and documents, supporting videos. We put on a full-on TV show as a corporate event and meeting that is, highly, highly produced.
yeah, yeah. I had another follow-up question and I just lost it. The last thing you said took my mind in a different direction. But
Sorry.
oh, I remember what. No, that's good. It's on me. So he's chuckling at me. Your journey is fascinating, and your success is, of course, admirable, and we love that. That's why we like to talk to people like you who sort of, I don't. This is not going to be the right word, but you stumble your way up, and that's not right, because there's very purposeful decisions that are made. But some of it is stumbling, and I mean, I know from my own personal life and Brian's as well, as you try something, I'm not sure this is going to work out. It's like you saying yes to, we're going to do 9 interviews with 9 different people in 9 different cities at the same time, and the interviewer can't leave her house or wherever she was.
Falling forward.
Right. Yeah, falling forward. And what if you sort of peel the layers of the onion back to you? Now I'm getting to your character and your drive and your energy. Where does that come from for you? What is it that has caused you to want to get to this point and still do it?
Yeah, because I love what I do. I love the business. I love to learn. I love to learn about new things. I spent 20 something years carrying a camera on my shoulder. So now I'm doing something completely different at 50 years old, and it's fun. I spent the same amount of time, almost 25 years, traveling 4 days a week on an airplane. So what I'm doing now is exciting in a different way, and I'm learning, a lot of new stuff that, if I was operating a camera, I wouldn't have learned. And so it's a different kind of fun, and so it's what drives me. And I just love what I do. I love the business, the TV business, and it's just fun.
There you go. That's what it all boils down to. Do what you love to do, and you never go to work another day, right? Is that what they say? Something
Yeah,
like
and if I didn't say yes, we can do that, right? Then there's probably a really good chance I wouldn't, the company wouldn't be where the success of the company wouldn't be where it's at, because that one job led to another job, which led to lots of other jobs just with that one company. So you have to take a risk, and you have to, I'm not saying to oversell yourself, but I had the confidence behind me, knowing I had a good team of people behind me that, again, were smarter than me, that together we could come up with a plan to figure it out.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that with the confidence thing, right? Because I think you're absolutely spot on with the, say yes. Somebody asks you something that you have no idea how to do, and that your team has the capability to make it happen. It's not just saying yes, it's saying yes in a believable way, right? Because you have the confidence, and you can, pass that and kind of express that confidence to your client, even though it's something you've never done before, just because of the confidence that you have in the knowledge, skills, and abilities of your team.
Right. And yeah, like I said, I know I've said it before, but just surrounding yourself with people that are smarter and better than you are, especially in the areas where you lack. To me, TV audio is the hardest thing in the world. It's like Chinese to me. So I think I have the best audio guy there is on the planet that works on our shows. And if he's not available, I tell the client the team's not available. because I don't want anyone else working on my shows except for this guy.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Are you go ahead. Yeah.
So I got to call this out, right? So Kevin and I had a discussion before we started recording that, we were a little intimidated having you on here because of your, skills and knowledge about camera work and so on. And we're just a couple of rookies with a camera and connection to the internet and a few microphones and so on. And we were a little, intimidated on what you might say, or we, and with intention, we were going to ask you to, critique us in that manner, because we want to know from somebody that has that trained eye and trained ear. And you complimented our set before we even had a chance to ask you a question. So
yeah, I love it.
That was certainly, that felt good. But what other ideas could you share with folks that are out there in this world that are doing video podcasting like we're doing here, or starting their own YouTube channel, whatever, equipment ideas?
Yeah. First, you need a good internet signal. I'm not talking about the download speed. I'm talking about the upload speed. Most people, when they think internet, or they check their download, but they never check what their upload speed is. If you have an upload of 10 or 20, less than 10 or 20, then you have really bad upload speed. And it could either be the router, it could be maybe the router's old, or just the service needs to be changed.
Right.
If you're streaming, you want to be connected via Ethernet cable to the router with the Wi-Fi on the computer turned off, because the computer's going to look to use the Wi-Fi first. Most computers. So you want to make sure that the Wi-Fi is turned off and it's using the Ethernet signal.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
We're in violation.
We are in violation. Yeah. That's just because the signal's stronger, right? And it doesn't have to fight through the.
Well, because think of Wi-Fi as like an EKG. It's like fluctuating up and down, right?
Okay.
And if it's Ethernet, it's just one straight line at the highest signal strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be drilling holes and running cable tomorrow. My wife will be like, what are you doing?
Are you a goal setter? Are you a goal setter?
A what?
A goal setter. Do you set goals? Do you?
Yes.
Okay. So how does that relate to, sort of this unexpected entrepreneurship that you have sort of come up with? Are these things happening because you have sort of predetermined them in your mind through your goals, or how would you describe?
Yeah. So I started my own podcast last year, and it was called The Unexpected Entrepreneur, because I never thought of myself as an entrepreneur until that mindset shift. And I have goals. I want to make. We have monetary goals that we're trying to meet. We have client goals or sales goals that we're trying to meet. And if you're not thinking 3 months down the road or 4 months down the road, then when those 3 or 4 months come, you might be stagnant or stale. So you always have to be looking ahead. What's next? What can I be working on right now? I'm trying to think what jobs can I be lining up or selling for like the fall. Okay.
So who's your, when I'm thinking about live streams and the corporate meetings and things of that nature, who's your ideal customer or client?
Good question. Any size company, really. We've done live streams that have cost, with large companies like IBM and Xerox and Luxottica, which owns Ray-Ban, to small companies that can just afford, one camera, that just need to get their message out there. So we've done it all over the charts. We've done talk shows, live streams with athletes. Our favorite one we did was around March Madness, not this past one, but last year. We did 5 live streams around March Madness, and the last one was with for the night of the championship game, was with Jim Nantz and Charles Barkley from CBS Sports, and it led into the game. They were just talking about the game, and then halfway through the live stream, the surprise guest of Magic Johnson to Charles Barkley. Jim Nance knew that Magic was going to be there, but Charles had no idea. So it was the most stressful day in like years, because we had to keep checking in with Magic Johnson to make sure his camera feed was good to us. We couldn't ID him because we didn't want Charles to know, and we didn't want to use his name to ruin the surprise. And we had a team in his hotel room with our equipment, making sure that everything was working. And when it came time to reveal Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley had no idea. He was shocked. So we caught the moment, and all of our technology worked, and it was one of the cooler events I've had the chance to work on.
That's cool.
There you go.
So what happens when the technology doesn't work? How do you recover from that? How do you adjust? And
so some of the things we do to combat it beforehand is doing tech checks with all the contributors in our shows. So a few days before the show, we check the internet speed, and we try to do it the same time of day as the show to make sure that the internet is, at the same time is the same speed. We tell the people not to have anyone in the house downloading movies and things like that. And then we send them, we have 25 contributor kits, and they're high-end laptops with ring lights, cameras, Ethernet cables, professional microphones, and we can dial into the computer and take full control of the computer once it hits the internet, focus the camera, white balance the camera, zoom the camera in or out, control the audio level, and really have full control over what the camera shot looks like, because we can talk to the person in their ear if we need them to move it left or right. And we send lights with it, so the person looks. It's not like on a news show sometimes where the books behind them are in focus and the eyeballs are out of focus. It's professional looking.
Very cool.
So, yeah, that's how we deal with trying to keep things looking the way they should.
yeah, and I think I heard you talk about the kits that you send them on another podcast that you did, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of microphone was it? A Yeti microphone that you were sending them?
Yeah, we have a lot of Yeti Blues, and we have Razer Keo cameras that have built-in ring lights in them, and then we also send ring lights also.
We started
to supplement.
Started our recording on a single Yeti microphone that was between the two of us, and I've learned way more about microphones than I ever thought I'd need to know. The dynamic mic, condenser mic, all this stuff, and yeah, it was interesting. We had to get uncomfortably close to one another to talk into this microphone, but we've certainly evolved from there.
Absolutely, yeah. You guys have great mics. Are they short? What do you guys have?
These are Rode pod mics.
They're Rhodes.
Yeah, with a Rodecaster Pro.
I
just saw the other day.
Good, Howie? I want to know, are those good? Because this is.
Yeah, no, you guys sound great.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I just saw the other day that Rode has come out with a second version of this podcast board.
Okay.
Might have to look and see what features are there.
All right.
All right.
Well, this has been fun. It really has been. It's been interesting, and
I've got so many technical questions. I could keep going for hours on that. What do you? So do you guys do your own streaming platform, or do you have another service that you utilize? 'Cause we're using Zoom tonight. That's all we've ever used for recording these podcasts when we have a remote guest.
Yeah, good question.
Is there another platform that you would recommend?
Yeah, we use a professional streaming software called vMix. So you can input, I think, up to 8 cameras, and then you can have up to 8 remote guests. And then if you need more, you can add another vMix and kind of loop them together to include 8 more. And so you can keep stacking vMixes on and add it up by 8. So you can have as many contributors as you want. You just need to add another vMix set of software. And all of our software lives in an AWS cloud. So we're operating in the cloud everyone is in our team is all remote in their own home or office, working in our cloud situation. So if I lost internet in my house and I got kicked off, the rest of the team could still be working the live stream and it would not be affected because someone could just pick up, because it's all originating from the cloud.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And internet speed in the cloud and the storage in the cloud is much higher than just on your standard computer.
Yeah, that's incredible. vMix. Yeah, this is going to be one of those podcasts that I go back and listen to several times.
Right.
And
the conclusion is going to be at some point we're going to have to hire a production staff.
right. We'll get there.
We're going to grow out of that game, right, of doing it ourselves.
One step at a time. One step at a time.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right. What else do you have locked in your brain there that thinking about the whole premise of our podcast, passing on the wisdom of the ages to our viewers and listeners? What would you want them to know that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, we have a I love to pay it forward and always looking to help train new people. So we, during the pandemic, I wrote a book and developed a course on how to get into the television sports business. So I kind of pivoted away from the Unexpected Entrepreneur podcast and started something called the TV Crew Talk, where we talk to people that are in the television industry for years that have had similar experiences to myself, and we're trying to sell our business and what fun it is to try to get the new crop of freelancers in and then train them through our course.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds fun as well.
Yeah, it's ensuring the quality of your industry, for years to come, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Having a hand in that. That's outstanding.
And there's a key word that keeps popping up in this podcast, and that is the word pivot. So many times in life, something comes up and you pivot in a new direction. And we've actually said that word several times, but it's just, I just want to underline it, that sometimes life will show you a new opportunity that sort of you think it falls out of the sky, but it doesn't. It's because you're prepared for it. It's because
and you always have to be open to it and looking, right? If you're not looking, it's never going to come. It's you're never going to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would also add to that I believe that at some point you manifested that, and it's coming to you, and it's just whether or not you're open and willing to receive it when it gets to you.
Right.
And if you pass on it, then somebody else might pick it up and run with it. So
exactly.
You got to look at stuff with that lens too.
Yep.
These ideas float around, and you got to grab them when the time's right.
Absolutely.
Howie, what are you going to lose sleep over tonight if you don't cover something that's on your mind?
You know what? I rarely lose sleep.
That's a great answer. All right.
I try to, if there's something that's bothering me or I think I need to get it done, I have a really good morning routine, and that's something that my business coach helped instill in me. I write down the 3 or 4 things that are bothering me or I need to get done the next morning. I write them down on my phone so I don't forget, and it kind of like clears my head.
There you go.
I wake up early, get those, get it done, and work out. I have a whole morning routine that helps.
And what does wake up early mean to you?
5 a.m. most days.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. There you go.
We both subscribe to that mentality.
Bet.
Yeah.
Bet. That's wonderful.
Very cool.
Well, Brian, I have enjoyed this thoroughly, and Howie,
I have as well.
Yeah, this has been great. What a great conversation. I think there's all kind of takeaways. Whether or not you're into the production of TV cameras or whatever the right language is, there's a lot about you personally that is interesting.
Thank you.
And I think folks can carry away from this conversation all kind of good stuff. I know I have, and I really will go back and view this again. And one of the things that's sticking in my brain was early on in the podcast where you talk about stick to the 5% that you're good at, and surround yourself with the other folks to do the other stuff. And I like that a lot, actually.
Yes, indeed. And we look forward to meeting you in person at some point when you venture down to our neck of the woods.
Absolutely.
That'll be cool. No doubt. All right. Well, I thank you. We thank you for making time to be with us tonight and to share this information, and greatly appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right. I'm going to reach over here and hit this
Yeah.
button, Kevin. Ready?
Don't forget, I'm ready. Push the right one.
I was just going to say, and I even hit the right one. I'm going to say something like this. No matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, make sure between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.